700 ships, anchored, going nowhere. Right now, as you watch this video, over 700 commercial vessels, oil tankers, cargo ships, liquefied natural gas carriers, are sitting completely still in the waters just outside the Strait of Hormuz. Engines running, crews waiting, burning fuel they're paying for with zero movement. 150 million barrels of oil locked up on the water. Gas prices in America are spiking toward record highs. Global supply chains are seizing up, and the question every analyst, every admiral, every Pentagon official is quietly asking behind closed doors is the same one you're about to hear. And the answer is going to shock you. The most powerful, most expensive, most technologically advanced Navy in the history of human civilization, a force that costs American taxpayers over $200 billion every single year, cannot clear a 21-mile strait. Not because they lack missiles, not because they lack aircraft carriers, not because Iran somehow outgunned them, but because of a decision made years ago in a Washington conference room that nobody is talking about. And today, that decision is costing the entire world. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn rewrites everything you thought you knew about American naval supremacy. Here is the core of the problem, and it is almost embarrassingly simple when you lay it out. Iran has spent decades quietly building one of the most sophisticated naval mine arsenals on the planet. Conservative military estimates put the number at somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 mines. A combination of old-school contact mines that detonate on physical impact, moored magnetic mines that trigger from a ship's electromagnetic signature without any physical touch, acoustic mines that wake up when they hear a specific engine frequency, and the most terrifying category of all, smart mines with counting mechanisms built in. What that last category means is this. Iran can program a mine to let the first 10 ships pass completely unharmed and then detonate on the 11th. Which means even if you clear a path and declare it safe, you can never be certain it actually is. That's not a weapon. That's psychological warfare against the entire global shipping industry. And the only way to deal with mines at scale, the only real countermeasure the world has developed, is a dedicated mine countermeasures vessel. A specialized ship with low magnetic signatures, special hull materials, and sonar systems designed to hunt mines one by one and neutralize them. The Washington Institute for Near East Policy ran the numbers years ago and concluded that effectively clearing the Strait of Hormuz would require a minimum of 16 mine countermeasure ships operating simultaneously. 16. You want to know how many the United States Navy currently has available near the Persian Gulf? 7. That gap alone, 9 ships, is the entire strategic crisis in a single sentence. But it gets significantly worse when you look at what happened to the ships America used to have. In late February and early March of 2026, as Iranian mines began appearing in Hormuz shipping lanes, and the crisis was visibly escalating on every intelligence dashboard in Washington, the United States Navy was simultaneously, at the exact same moment, decommissioning 4 of its dedicated mine countermeasure ships and sailing them to Philadelphia to be retired. Let that register. The crisis was live. The mines were in the water, ships were already diverting, and the Navy was parking its Minesweepers. The replacements that were supposed to fill this gap are ships called Littoral Combat Ships, the LCS program. And the story of the LCS is one of the most expensive procurement disasters in modern American military history. These are aluminum-hulled trimaran vessels that were sold to Congress as the Swiss Army knife of the modern Navy. Fast, flexible, modular, capable of doing everything. The mine countermeasures module they carry was supposed to be the future of naval mine hunting. Here is what actually happened in testing and real-world pre-deployment exercises. During multiple mine hunting missions, the sonar systems on LCS mine packages simply failed to record data, and the crews had no idea until they downloaded the mission logs after the fact. They were hunting mines with a system that wasn't working and had no warning indicator telling them so. In one exercise off the coast of San Diego involving the USS Tulsa, an unmanned surface vehicle, a robotic boat that's supposed to hunt mines independently, went rogue. It left the operating area, could not be recalled or recovered by the mothership, and ended up approaching Mexican territorial waters before it was eventually retrieved. These are not minor software glitches. These are fundamental, systemic failures in the technology that the entire American mine countermeasure strategy is now built around. And while the Navy was busy defending the LCS program in budget hearings, Iran was stockpiling thousands of mines they know America cannot efficiently clear. The lesson Iran learned from studying American military doctrine is simple and devastating. You don't need to sink a carrier to win a naval confrontation. You just need to make the water too dangerous for commerce. Iran essentially turned the Strait of Hormuz into a 21-mile wall, and the United States walked right into it. So where does this leave us? Right now, President Trump has publicly stated the U.S. Navy will begin escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz as soon as possible. But the Navy itself is turning down near-daily escort requests from major shipping companies because their own commanders know that sending destroyers and carriers into an uncleared minefield surrounded by Iranian fast attack boats, shore-based anti-ship missiles, and suicide drones is a decision that could turn a contained crisis into a full-scale war within hours. Naval experts who've done the math say that a single convoy escort through the Strait of Hormuz could require up to 10 destroyers, and that would potentially restore only 10% of pre-war shipping traffic. The economics are catastrophic. You'd be risking $2 billion warships to move $50 million tankers through a strait Iran has effectively declared its own territorial tollway. And the clock is running. Every week the strait stays closed, the global economy bleeds, oil prices climb. Emerging economies that depend on imported fuel face inflation spirals. And China, sitting back, untouched, running its shadow tanker fleet through Iranian-approved corridors, is quietly becoming the single biggest winner of a war it never entered. The deeper truth here is this: American naval supremacy was always built on the assumption of open oceans and blue water dominance. Carriers, destroyers, nuclear submarines, all designed for one kind of warfare. Iran figured out the other kind, the cheap kind, the patient kind, the kind that costs $5,000 per mine to deploy and $500 million per vessel to counter. And America, for all its aircraft carriers and its trillion-dollar defense budgets, is now learning in real time what happens when you optimize for the wars of the last century instead of the wars of this one. This story is far from over, and the decisions made in the next 60 days will determine whether the strait opens or whether the world rewires its entire energy supply chain permanently. If this kind of deep naval analysis is what you want to see more of, hit subscribe right now, because we cover the stories the mainstream media glosses over. Drop your take in the comments. Do you think the US Navy can actually clear the strait? Or has Iran already won this round? Share this video with anyone who thinks American naval power is untouchable, because the reality is a lot more complicated.